She turned and walked away slowly, not knowing that the man she was looking for had just left, only seconds before.
That night, Hannah sat on the cold floor of the unfinished building. It was dark. There were no windows, just broken walls and open space. She placed some old clothes on the floor and laid Julia down gently. Julia was already asleep, her tiny hand resting on Hannah's arm. Hannah sat beside her, staring at the ceiling with tears in her eyes. She whispered, "God, I don't want my child to grow up like this. Please help us." She thought of Dominic. His face, his kindness, the way he looked at her and her baby. Then she thought of the card. She had lost it. She pressed her hands against her chest and sighed deeply.
"Maybe I'll never see him again,"
she said softly. But just before closing her eyes, she made a decision. A quiet but strong decision. I will go back to that spot, the same place he saw me. Maybe, just maybe, he might pass there again. She didn't sleep much. The wind blew through the open space. Mosquitoes bit her arms. Julia cried in the middle of the night.
Still, she held on. By early morning, Hannah was already up. She cleaned Julia with some water from a small bowl. She dressed her up and brushed her hair gently. She looked at Julia and smiled. "We will be okay, I promise." Hannah was not hungry that morning. Dominic had given her enough money to feed them for even more than a week. But today was not about food. Today was about hope. She left the building and walked down the road with her baby on her back. She didn't beg. She just stood at the same spot where Dominic had seen her that first morning, watching, waiting, hoping. Would he pass this way again? She didn't know, but she was ready to wait for as long as it would take. The sun was already high in the sky. It was a bright and happy morning in Dominic's house. Today was special. His younger brother, Silam, was coming back home after 17 long years. 17 years away in Atlanta. Dominic had been waiting for this day. He didn't go to the office. He had planned everything. He informed the driver early and said, "Please go to the airport. My brother is landing this morning. Make sure you're there on time." "Yes, sir," the driver replied, and left quickly. Dominic walked around the house with a smile on his face. He went into the kitchen and spoke with the chef. "Make sure there's fried rice, jollof, grilled chicken, goat meat, and pounded yam. My brother loves pounded yam." The chef smiled. "Don't worry, sir. Everything will be ready before he arrives." Then Dominic picked up his phone and called 3 of his closest friends. "Salem is arriving today. Come over. Let's welcome him." They all agreed to come. Laughter was already filling the air in the compound. Music was playing softly in the background. Dominic stood at the balcony and looked out with joy in his heart. "This is a good day," he whispered. But far away in the city, Hannah was still standing by the road. Julia was tied to her back. Her eyes were tired, but her heart was still strong. She looked at every black SUV that passed. But unfortunately, today the driver had gone with Dominic's newest red SUV. She waited and prayed. Maybe Dominic would pass by again. Maybe today would be the day her life would change. But she didn't know that Dominic was at home, laughing and waiting for his brother. She didn't know that the man she was praying to meet again was not coming out today. Not even close. "God, please don't forget me," she said. The day was still young, but the wait was getting long. At the airport, Dominic's driver stood by the entrance of the pickup area, holding a small sign that said, "Salem." Soon, a tall man with a wide smile and a trolley full of suitcases came out of the airport. Salem saw the man with the sign that had his name on it and smiled. He walked over. "You must be Dominic's driver." "Yes, sir," the driver said, taking the trolley. As they drove out of the airport, Salem rolled down the window and looked around. This place has really changed," he said. The driver smiled. "Yes, sir, a lot has changed since you left." But as they moved deeper into the city, the car began to slow down. Cars were everywhere. Trucks, buses, tricycles, and bikes. Honking filled the air. The driver sighed. This traffic has started again." Salem laughed and leaned back. "How do you people cope with this chaos?" The driver laughed. "We just have to. This is Lagos, the most populous city in Africa." They both laughed, but just then, As the car moved slowly again, the driver looked ahead. His smile dropped for a second. There, by the side of the road, a young woman was standing with a baby tied to her back. She looked tired, and she was the same woman Dominic had taken to the restaurant with her baby yesterday. The same woman he went back to the restaurant to look for. The same woman who gave her baby food before eating herself. The driver's hands tightened on the steering wheel. Salem noticed the change in his face. "Is something wrong?" Salem asked. The driver shook his head. "No, sir. Just this traffic." He didn't know what to do. Should I stop? Should I call my boss? But he wasn't sure. So, he kept driving. But he kept looking at her through the mirror. And inside his heart, he knew that woman was important. About 19 minutes later, the black SUV drove into Dominic's big mansion. As soon as the car stopped, Salem stepped out and looked around. The house was beautiful, with flowers by the gate. Everything was clean and shiny. Suddenly, the front door opened. Dominic stepped out with a big smile on his face. "Salem!" he shouted. "Brother!" Salem laughed and opened his arms. They hugged each other tight. "You look good," Dominic said, holding his brother's shoulder. "And you look richer," Salem teased. They both laughed. Just then, some of Dominic's close friends came out too. They shook hands with Salem and welcomed him warmly. There was laughter, smiles, and drinks in hand. But one person was not smiling, the driver. He stood quietly beside the car, looking worried. His eyes moved to Dominic every few seconds. He needed to talk.